Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
Good morning, Darwin.
Good morning to you, Anita. Good morning.
Oh, you must be so
May.
busy. Happy May. You must be so busy working on the Trump book.
Yes, I am. And I want to get into it because real quick, I'd like to talk about something I haven't heard on TV or radio, which I want to preview my impressions of the young men and women competing to become first daughters, our first daughter, our first sons living in the White House. So I'd like to start with the most famous of them all, Miss Chelsea Clinton. Can you believe she's now 36 years old? It seems like only yesterday that she was growing up in the spotlight of the Clinton administration. And she is, of all, of course, I'm talking now also about the Trump children. As you know, as everyone knows, Chelsea is the only daughter of Bill and Hillary Clinton. And she is a married woman, the mother of Charlotte, a little girl, and due any moment now, maybe another boy or girl. So we'll make Hillary a grandmother twice over. And of all of the children, the Trump children and Chelsea is the most educated. She has a number of degrees, including a degree in philosophy from Oxford University. And so she is one smart little cookie.
That doesn't surprise me, Darwin, at all.
Yeah, and very extremely articulate. Now, for a while, she held a very important job. She was a special correspondent for NBC News from 2011 to 2014, and they paid her $600,000 a year, a good starting salary in New York. And she also makes a lot of speeches. Now, unlike her mother, she gets $35,000 to $50,000 per speech, but she donates these speeches, the money from these speeches, to the Clinton Foundation. So she has a great sense of charity. And from everything that I've heard about her and know about her, she has morphed into a very remarkable young lady. And she is now campaign trained and has been speaking all over America, promoting her mother's candidacy. And she broke in 2008. I added them all up. She addressed 100 college campuses around the country and gave very, very good speeches. But she refused to answer questions from the press. I remember one speech someone called out, "And what do you think about your dad and Monica Lewinsky?" And she said, "I think that's none of your business."
Good for her. Good for her.
So she can handle herself. Now, I'll get into that in a minute. Now, one of the oddest friendships that Chelsea has, she has been one of the best friends of Ivanka Trump, who is the older daughter of Donald Trump and Ivana Trump. Ivanka, just add a K. And oddly enough, both of them married Jewish husbands. Both Chelsea and Ivanka married Jewish husbands. Now, Ivanka converted to Judaism, and Chelsea did not. But she married, and is still married to him, Mark Bavinsky, and they are of mixed faith. And there was something I wanted to mention here. I found out her code name for the Secret Service is Energy.
Really?
And with that schedule that she has, I think that maybe that's a very, very good code name. And what was interesting that it wasn't like when she went to Stanford University, they put bulletproof windows on her dormitory, and they had hidden cameras in the hallway, and 3 Secret Servicemen dressed up like students, because it seems so unfair, but she received assassination threats during the Clinton administration.
Too bad, really. So sad.
That's sort of sad. But what was even sadder, Chelsea, I think, has turned into a fine-looking woman, but she had an awkward period in the White House, and Hillary asked the commentators to please play off, but they didn't. And Rush Limbaugh particularly was very harsh on criticizing this young girl's looks, and I think it was very sad, but she seems to be very strong, and she handled all of these attacks on her personal appearances. In fact, I've just seen the latest pictures of her, and I think she just looks wonderful, and she dresses very well. She handles herself beautifully, and as I said, she is the most educated of them all. I'm not suggesting that the other children are stupid. They're far from it. But I'm just saying she has the degrees to go with it. Now, chances are she will not live in the White House. She will live with her husband, Mark. They bought a $12 million luxury apartment in the Flatiron district of Manhattan, and so they'll probably live there, maybe visit the White House on occasion. And it would be strange for a first daughter to become first daughter again.
It is interesting, isn't it, what could happen?
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
I want to get into these remarkable but very different Trump children. 3 sets of them, all from different mothers. The first 3 came out of his first marriage to Ivanka Trump, who came from what is now the Czech Republic. Donald Trump Jr. was born I think he was born in the final hours of 1977, just as Manhattan was celebrating the New Year.
Excuse me, is he the dark-haired boy?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, he is, and he went to school, just a regular bachelor's, but then he said he took a boozy year off. He went to the hard-drinking town of Aspen, Colorado, and he said that he felt his brain was beginning to go to gelatin, so he decided to give up drinking and come to New York and settle down and get into business.
I'm surprised his father allowed that.
He took after his father in the pursuit of models, and he married a very beautiful woman named Vanessa Hayden. And they're the most prolific. They have 2 daughters and 3 sons. So they've got a lot of little Trumps running around the place now. It is predicted that he will be the heir apparent to become president of the vast Trump organization. He became executive vice president when he was 26 years old. He'd sobered up then, and he's the most aggressive of all of the Trump children, and as I said, is quite a father. Apparently, he's a very good man now, and is faithful to his wife, and is a very good father to his children, and spends as much time with them as he can. Now, along came Chelsea Clinton's friend, Ivanka. She was born in 1981, and she married a real estate developer, Gary Kushner, and she has 3 children, 1 girl and 2 boys, and her son was born this year. He was named Theodore. Now, he may forgive his mother for naming him Theodore when he grows up. The reason I dislike that name, I was adopted for 1 year in World War II, and my adopted parents named me Theodore.
Oh, I didn't know that, Darwin.
Yes, So I've always had this prejudice against the name. If anybody named Theodore is listening, I apologize in advance. Okay. Now, Ivanka is called the beauty with the brain. She has her own cosmetic company. She is a vice president of Trump Organization. She's representing her father on the campaign trail, and she seems to try to temper him a bit and advise him on women's issues. And she's an executive. She was introduced to the world on his show, The Apprentice, and I find her very lovely, very gracious. She even wrote a book on how to get ahead in life called Trump Card, and she has the figure of a model, and she is probably one day will end up on one of the 10 best dressed women in America. So, and I must add, although her parents will be saying terrible things, Hillary and Donald Trump, the two girls have agreed to retain their friendship regardless of what is said on the campaign trail.
That's amazing. That's really something. I wasn't aware of what you just said.
Now, we come to my favorite of the Trump children, Eric Trump, the tallest and some say the handsomest, who was born in 1984. And he is also now a vice president. He has gone into the family business. Of course, someone's got to run it with the Donald out on the campaign trail. And he's rather a remarkable young man and also a campaigner. Frankly, I have heard that the children really didn't want their father to run for president. And sometimes I think Donald really embarrasses them, but they're brave, loyal children, and they go on with a certain energy and style. Now, Eric, this is really strange. He admits that his father is his best friend. A lot of young men don't say that, is his best friend. And he said his father is a combination of Sir Winston Churchill, Andrew Carnegie, and John D. Rockefeller. I think that's high recommendation. I know a lot of boys don't think that about their father. So they get on very, very well. Of all the children, Eric is the one. He is really a philanthropist. He's on the board and raises a lot of money for the St. Jude's research. I admire them so much because they provide money for little, like 5-year-olds who get cancer. And, you know, a lot of people think a lot of these diseases come when you're older, but they come often to little children. They're stricken with all sorts of things. Some are born HIV positive because of their parents, and he contributes a lot of his time to raising money for these pathetic children. You've probably seen pictures of them on television. It's a horrible thing to be born into this world and have all these horrible diseases. Some have weird blood diseases, and anyway, I admire him very, very much.
I know the organization St. Jude. It's a absolute. Yes. It was Danny Thomas who was very famous.
Yes.
And yeah, I know it's a wonderful organization. That's good to hear.
Yeah, so I think he's now. He has no children, but give him time. Now, oddly enough, he too married a Jewish person, Laura Yunaska. In fact, she had me once. She was a producer on Inside Edition, so I got to meet her one time when I appeared on Inside Edition, the TV show. And she is Jewish, but Eric did not convert to Judaism. So they had what they call a half-Jewish ceremony, and they have no children. The only thing that I didn't like about Eric and Don Jr. is they like to hunt, and they were photographed in Zimbabwe with these slain animals they killed, and I'm not too much for that, you know. The days of Ernest Hemingway going on a safari is long over. So many of these species, you know, are endangered.
Yes.
So that's the one thing I didn't sort of like about Eric, but I admire him. And I think he's handled some awful questions very, very well. It was so embarrassing. I mean, one person, senator from Florida, Donald calls him Little Marco Rubio, brought up the question of who had the biggest hands. And then Marco Rubio said, you know what they say about men who have small hands. And they brought the sun into that. I thought that was a little embarrassing, but he handled it with grace and style. But some people go after him with really embarrassing questions. But, you know, his daddy decides to run for president, so he has to take the heat. Now we come to Tiffany. Tiffany, another blonde, born in 1993 to Marla Maples. Now, she was a child out of wedlock. She was born in October, and Donald finally agreed to marry the Georgia Peach, she's called, Marla Maples, in December of that year. And Trump is taking a beating for a TV thing he made. It was considered tasteless and vulgar. He said, Tiffany has her mother's legs, and we don't know about the breast yet. And that's being shown all over TV. So people think that was a very tasteless thing to say for a little baby girl. But her breasts apparently are just fine. She has the figure of a model. She is not in the family business, and I think she never will be. I don't think business is her thing. I don't mean she has a college education, and she did very well, but she grew up in California with her mother and went to a private school. And the only thing she seems interested in, she said she's interested in maybe music or painting, but I don't think she will be building any skyscrapers in Manhattan. Thing about Tiffany gets a lot of press because she seems to date the richest millennials in America. Her boyfriends are very varied and of various sexual preferences. For example, she was dating for a while E.J. Johnson, who's the son of the famous basketball player Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson on Anderson Cooper on CNN outed his son as gay, but he and E.J. and Tiffany dated quite a bit. And just, I won't go on, but if you read the society pages, you know Harry and Peter Brandt. They're not twins. They're the brothers, and their father is the famous publisher Peter Brandt Sr. And they are, I think, the most stylish people in Manhattan. I was out one night at this famous restaurant in Manhattan, and this gold-plated Rolls-Royce arrived at the entrance as I was leaving the restaurant, and out stepped Tiffany with both brothers, Harry and Peter, and Peter had a Black Panther on the leash with a diamond necklace. So I said, "Wow, what a way to make an entrance!" And Peter sort of has outed himself. He said, "I like beautiful guys. I like beautiful girls." He says, "Today, if a man takes me for dinner and spends $300 on me, I have to give him something." He said, "Before the economy turned sour, I used to insist that he spend $500, but today I've lowered it to $300." And he said he and his mother often had the same taste in men. Her two boyfriends, for example, were Warren Beatty and Charlie Sheen. That was before poor Charlie got HIV. And these are two great copy people. And Tiffany she seems to live in a very rarefied world of glamour. She said one thing about being the daughter of Donald Trump is she can go through all the exclusive stores in Trump Tower and say, charge it to Dad.
I want to ask you about her, though. So the family, so are they welcome? Do the other kids accept her?
Yes, but not intimately, I think. Melania, the mother, she said that she does not relate to all the other children, the other 4 children, as a stepmother. She says, I will be their friend. I will be there as their friend, not necessarily as their stepmother, but if they need me at any time, I will be available to them. And all the family gets together at certain times. But I just want to have a few more minutes.
Wait. Let me finish with Marla Maples. Does she come when they have a family dinner?
No.
I didn't think so.
No. The third wife does not allow the first 2 wives to visit Trump Tower.
Really?
Well, they're verboten. But you know, Ivana now her children, Ivana, she has a home in Palm Beach near you.
I know.
A condo in Miami, and she has 3 homes in the Czech Republic. She has a flat in London. She has a home in Saint-Tropez, and she has a yacht sailing somewhere. So the kids, if they want to go see Mama, you have to figure out where Mama is. But we're running. I have to talk about Barron William Trump, born 2006 to Melania and Donald Trump. He is amazing little 10-year-old. Apparently, at the age of 3, he fired the butler. He must have seen Donald Trump, ending The Apprentice saying, "You're fired." And he learned to say, "You're fired," and he fired the butler. And he is called, his mother calls him Mini Donald. And if he ever makes it to the White House, he is going to have the greatest skin of all, because his mother created this product made with skin cream, made with caviar. No, it does not stink. They got made with fish eggs, and apparently every night he coats his body in the caviar skin cream. And that butler that was fired said he takes a bottle of his mother's most expensive perfume and pours it into his bathwater, so he will also be the sweetest smelling kid there ever was. And also, unlike most kids his age, he insists every time he goes out, he wants to be dressed in suit and tie. And beautiful shoes, probably made with an endangered species. He has a vast wardrobe, but the trouble is that he has to, I guess he gives it away. He's a growing boy. So he may buy all these suits, but they don't last that long because he grows out of them. So he will also be he is considered the best dressed boy in America. He has immaculate taste. He virtually has a floor to himself in Trump Tower, which he's allowed to decorate himself. And it's just sort of a very amazing kid. But the interesting thing about it, they say when a man is sort of a grandfather age, he sometimes treats a child that he has different from what he treated the boys. For example, he put Donald Jr. to work on his Marine base in Atlantic City, making, he said, slave wages and living on tips. And he taught his first 2 sons, he quote, the value of the dollar. But Barron is really leading this life like a prince of olden days.
And Darwin, we have 1 minute left, and I've loved this. No one hears this type of thing, so I haven't even said anything. You have really opened up a lot of things to us. So I thank
I
you.
wanted to get in a mention of all the children.
You did, and no one does that. I thought you absolutely did an extraordinary job on that. Thank you. I think of them a little differently after you spoke.
Well, I mean, the children are remarkable, but we're going to hear a lot. Someone said, "What do you think will happen to Barron?" I said, "I think he'll take over his mother's cosmetic, and he will become a cosmetic czar of America."
Probably. Thank you, Darwin. It's just absolutely, I love the conversation this morning, and we'll talk soon because we are making preparations to come for a visit.
Yes, wonderful, and good luck interviewing your husband.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Darwin. Goodbye.